The Princess Who Commanded Flowers to Bloom, a magical tale. In the kingdom of Florissant, nestled between emerald valleys and shimmering lakes, there lived a princess named Elara. She was no ordinary royal, for Elara possessed a gift as rare as moonlight on a summer's day, the power to command flowers to bloom with a mere whisper. Her voice, soft as petals, could coax roses to unfurl, lilies to stand tall, and daisies to dance in the breeze. This tale, woven with magic and mystery, tells of Elara's journey to save her kingdom from a creeping darkness, guided by her extraordinary gift and an unyielding heart. The Blossoming Princess. Elara was born under a sky painted with the hues of 1,000 blossoms, or so the midwives swore. Her mother, Queen Lysandra, had prayed for a child who would bring life to their land, and the gods answered with Elara. From the moment she could toddle, flowers seemed to follow her. The royal gardens, once orderly and tame, became a riot of color, wildflowers sprouting where she stepped, vines curling lovingly around her tiny fingers. By the time she was 10, Elara could sing a single note, and an entire meadow would burst into bloom. The people of Florissant adored their princess, but none more than her father, King Theron. He called her "my little gardener" and gifted her a silver circlet adorned with sapphire flowers, a symbol of her unique magic. Yet, Elara's gift was not without its burdens. The court advisors, led by the stern Lord Varnell, whispered that her power was too wild, too unpredictable for a future queen. "A kingdom needs strength, not flowers," Varnell would mutter, his eyes glinting with ambition. Elara, though young, sensed his distrust, but kept her focus on her blooms, believing they held a purpose she had yet to understand. The shadow over Florissant. When Elara turned 16, a shadow fell over Florissant. It began subtly, a wilting rose here, a drooping tulip there. At first, the gardeners thought it a blight, a natural affliction, but soon entire fields withered, their vibrant colors fading to ash. The air grew heavy, and a strange fog crept from the northern mountains, curling around the kingdom like a predator. The people whispered of a curse, and fear took root where flowers once thrived. King Theron summoned his advisors, but none could explain the decay. Lord Varnell, ever eager to assert his influence, claimed the gods were punishing Florican for relying on Elara's frivolous magic. He proposed a solution, a ritual to appease the gods, requiring the sacrifice of Elara's gift. "Strip her of this unnatural power," he declared, "and the land will heal." The court murmured in agreement, but Queen Lysandra's voice cut through the din. "You would rob my daughter of her birthright on a hunch? Find another way." Elara, listening from the shadows, felt her heart twist. She loved her kingdom more than her own life, but to lose her gift, the very essence of who she was, felt like losing her soul. That night, she slipped into the royal library, poring over ancient tomes for answers. In a dusty scroll, she found a legend of the verdant heart, a mythical flower said to hold the life force of the world. It bloomed only in the grove of eternity, a hidden place guarded by ancient spirits. The scroll warned that the journey was perilous, but Elara knew she had to try. If the verdant heart could restore Florissant, she would find it. The journey begins. At dawn, Elara donned a cloak of midnight blue, tucked her silver circlet into a satchel, and left a note for her parents. "I go to save our home. Trust in me." She slipped out of the castle, her heart pounding with both fear and resolve. The kingdom was eerily silent as she passed through wilted fields, her whispers unable to coax even a single bud to bloom. The fog thickened as she reached the northern border, where the mountains loomed like silent sentinels. Her first companion found her by chance, or perhaps by fate. A scruffy fox, Its fur the color of autumn leaves, emerged from the fog, its eyes gleaming with intelligence. Ilara knelt, offering a piece of bread from her pack. "Are you lost, little one?" she asked. The fox tilted its head, then darted ahead, pausing as if to beckon her. Ilara smiled. "Very well, I'll follow." She named the fox Ember for its fiery spirit, and together they ventured into the mountains. The path was treacherous, winding through jagged cliffs and shadowed ravines. Ilara's gift, though weakened by the curse, still stirred faintly. When a rockslide blocked their way, she sang softly to a cluster of dry vines, urging them to grow. They twisted into a rope, allowing her to climb past the debris. Ember yipped in approval, and Ilara felt a spark of hope. Her magic was not gone. It was merely waiting. The Grove of Whispers. After days of travel, Ilara and Ember reached a forest so dense it seemed to swallow light. The air hummed with an ancient presence, and Ilara knew they had found the grove of eternity. The trees whispered in a language she couldn't understand, their branches forming a canopy that blocked the sky. At the grove's heart stood a clearing, and in its center, a single flower glowed with a light like bottled starlight, the verdant heart. But the grove was not unguarded. From the shadows emerged three spirits, their forms shifting between human and beast. The first, a woman with eyes like storm clouds, spoke. "I am Silva, keeper of courage. Why do you seek the verdant heart?" Ilara stood tall. "To save my kingdom from a curse that steals its life." The second spirit, a man with a voice like rustling leaves, introduced himself as Thalion, keeper of wisdom. "What will you sacrifice for such power?" he asked. Ilara hesitated, then said, "Whatever it takes, save my own heart." The third spirit, a child with a laugh like a brook, was Lyrian, keeper of joy. "Prove your worth," she chirped, "and the heart is yours." The spirits presented three trials. For courage, Ilara faced a chasm bridged only by thorns. Singing to the thorns, she coaxed them to soften, forming a path she crossed with bleeding feet but unwavering resolve. For wisdom, Thalion posed a riddle. "I am taken from the earth, yet I give life. I am silent, yet I speak in color. What am I?" Ilara answered, "A flower," and Thalion nodded. For joy, Lyrian challenged her to make the grove laugh. Ilara, with Ember's help, performed a clumsy dance, her laughter mingling with the fox's playful yips. The grove echoed with mirth, and Lyrian clapped. The spirits, satisfied, stepped aside. Ilara approached the verdant heart, its light warming her soul. But as she reached for it, a voice hissed from the fog. A voice she knew. Lord Varnell emerged, his cloak tattered, his eyes wild. "You thought you could outrun me, child?" he sneered. "I followed you, and now the heart is mine." The betrayal and the battle Varnell revealed his treachery. He had unleashed the curse, using forbidden magic to drain Florison's life force, hoping to seize the throne in the chaos. The verdant heart, he believed, would make him a god. Ilara's heart sank, but she stood her ground. "You'll destroy everything," she said. Varnell laughed, raising a staff that pulsed with dark energy. "And you'll watch." The battle was fierce. Varnell's magic summoned vines of shadow, but Ilara countered with her own, her voice weaving light into the grove's wilted blooms. Roses became shields, lilies swords. Ember darted between Varnell's legs, distracting him as Ilara sang with all her strength. The grove responded, its trees bending to trap Varnell's shadows, but his power was vast, and Ilara's voice began to falter. In desperation, she reached for the verdant heart, not to take it, but to plead. "Help me save my home," she whispered. The flower pulsed, and a surge of warmth flooded her. Her voice rang out stronger than ever, and the grove erupted in bloom. Flowers of every kind, Sunflowers, orchids, violets wove a net around Varnell, binding him as the spirits banished his dark magic. He collapsed, defeated, his staff crumbling to dust. The return and the renewal. Ilara plucked the verdant heart, its light dimming as it entrusted its power to her. With Ember at her side, she returned to Florissant, the fog lifting as she walked. The kingdom was a shadow of itself, but Ilara knelt in the central square and sang. Her voice, infused with the heart's magic, spread like wildfire. Fields bloomed, trees sprouted, and the air filled with the scent of life. The people wept with joy, and King Theron and Queen Lysandra embraced their daughter, their pride brighter than any flower. Varnell was imprisoned, his treachery exposed. Ilara, now seen as a hero, refused the throne's weight just yet. "I am a gardener first," she said, vowing to nurture Florissant's renewal. Her circlet, now adorned with a single petal from the verdant heart, became a symbol of hope. Years later, Ilara's gift grew stronger, her songs shaping not just flowers, but hearts. Florissant flourished, its borders a tapestry of blooms that told her story. Ember, ever her companion, grew old but never left her side. And in the quiet moments, when Ilara walked the gardens alone, she swore she heard the grove's whispers, thanking her for her courage, wisdom, and joy. Thus ends the tale of the princess who commanded flowers to bloom, a story of magic, sacrifice, and the power of a single voice to bring light to the darkest of places.